The snow fell softly outside Jake Moreson's house in Colorado Springs as his family gathered around the Christmas tree. His wife, Lisa, was helping their twin daughters, Amy and Beth, unwrap presents while the smell of turkey filled the warm air. Jake sat in his favorite chair watching his girls laugh and play with their new toys. This was his first Christmas home in 3 years after serving with the Mars Colonial Defense Force. Far above Earth's atmosphere, Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his massive warship, studying the blue planet below. His yellow eyes narrowed as he watched the strange lights twinkling across the continents. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered 17 star systems and Earth would be number 18. His intelligence reports showed humans were a weak species barely capable of space travel. "Admiral, we detect minimal military activity," reported his tactical officer. "Their industrial output has dropped 70% in the last week. Many of their cities show signs of widespread fires." Vextar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Excellent. They are already destroying themselves. This will be easier than we thought." The alien commander did not understand that humans were celebrating their most important holiday. The lights he saw were Christmas decorations, and the fires were cozy fireplaces in millions of homes. The reduced industrial activity meant people were spending time with their families, not fighting civil wars. At NORAD headquarters inside Cheyenne Mountain, Captain Helen Rodriguez sat at her monitoring station. Most of her colleagues had gone home for Christmas, leaving only a skeleton crew on duty. She sipped her coffee and watched the radar screens that showed normal satellite traffic around Earth. Then everything changed. "Captain, we have multiple contacts entering our detection grid," called out Sergeant Murphy from his station. "These signatures don't match any known aircraft." Helen rushed to his screen and felt her blood turn cold. Hundreds of objects were appearing on radar, moving in perfect formation toward Earth. She had never seen anything like them. "Sound general alert," she ordered. "Wake up everyone who's sleeping and get me the president on the secure line." But most government officials were home with their families. The president was at Camp David with his grandchildren. The Secretary of Defense was in Hawaii visiting his daughter. The Joint Chiefs of Staff were scattered across the country enjoying rare time off. Meanwhile, Jake was helping Amy put batteries in her new robot when his military communicator buzzed. Only emergencies came through on Christmas Day. He looked at the message and his face went pale. "Lisa, take the girls upstairs." "Right now," he said quietly. "What's wrong?" she asked, seeing the look in his eyes. "Unknown aircraft approaching Earth. Military alert status red." Lisa had been a medic in the Army before they married. She knew that tone in his voice. Something very bad was happening. Admiral Vextar gave the order to begin the assault at exactly midnight Greenwich Mean Time on Christmas Day. His fleet of 800 ships moved into attack formation. They would strike the major population centers, first to break human morale quickly. The first Zephyrian fighters screamed through Earth's atmosphere over New York City. People were just finishing their Christmas dinners when the alien ships opened fire on the tallest buildings. Explosions lit up the night sky as laser beams cut through steel and glass. In London, families watching Christmas movies heard the roar of unknown aircraft overhead. Strange ships with glowing engines fired energy weapons at Big Ben and Parliament. The ancient clock tower crumbled in a shower of sparks and stone. Tokyo was celebrating Christmas morning when the alien attack began there. Shopping districts full of families were suddenly filled with smoke and fire as the Zephyrian bombers made their first pass over the city. Captain Helen Rodriguez watched the attacks unfold on her screens in horror. Radio reports poured in from around the world describing the same thing everywhere. Alien ships, energy weapons, buildings destroyed, people running in panic. "Get me every military base in North America," she shouted. "Wake up everyone who has a uniform and a gun." But the aliens had made their first big mistake. They thought attacking on Christmas would catch humans at their weakest. Instead, they had attacked when millions of trained warriors were home with their families. Every city and town in America had veterans, police officers, firefighters, and National Guard members who were now watching their loved ones in danger. Jake Morrison grabbed his emergency kit from the basement and started putting on his old military gear. His daughters watched with wide eyes as their father transformed from a gentle dad into a soldier. "Daddy, what are you doing?" Beth asked. "Bad people are trying to hurt our family," Jake said softly. "Daddy has to help stop them." Lisa was already getting medical supplies from their emergency kit. Years of military training never really leave a person. She knew they might need to treat wounded neighbors before this was over. Colonel Paul Bennett was carving the Christmas turkey at his family gathering in Austin when his phone rang with the emergency alert. Within minutes he was talking to his brother-in-law who worked for a weapons manufacturer, his neighbor who used to fly fighter jets, and his cousin who designed military satellites. "Looks like Christmas dinner is going to have to wait," Paul said grimly as he looked at the radar data on his phone. In Chicago, Detective Maria Santos was at midnight mass with 3 generations of her family when the first alien fighters appeared over the city. The church was full of off-duty cops, firefighters, paramedics, and soldiers who all heard the same roar of engines outside. Father Martinez was in the middle of his sermon when the stained glass windows rattled from a nearby explosion. "Everyone stay calm," he announced. "Those with emergency training, please help organize evacuation procedures." Maria stood up and saw her brother Carlos, an Air Force pilot, already moving toward the door. "Carlos, how fast can you get to the base?" she called out. 20 minutes if I drive like you do," he replied with a grim smile. Zephyrian Empire had conquered 17 worlds by attacking during their enemies' moments of weakness. But they had never fought humans before. They had never attacked a species during their most sacred family time. They were about to learn that humans become most dangerous when they are protecting the people they love, Admiral Vextar expected. Global surrender within 6 hours. Instead, he was about to face the most fierce resistance his empire had ever encountered. The humans were not going to give up their Christmas without a fight. The alien ships had been bombing Earth for 6 hours, and Admiral Vextar was getting frustrated. His tactical display showed massive resistance from every continent. This was not going according to plan at all. "Admiral, our ground forces report heavy casualties in all major cities," his intelligence officer reported nervously. "The humans are fighting back much harder than expected." Vextar slammed his clawed fist on the command console. "Impossible. Our intelligence showed they were weak and divided. How can a primitive species resist our superior technology?" What the Admiral did not understand was that humans had spent Christmas Day with their families, and now those families were in danger. Every neighborhood in America contained people who knew how to fight, and they were all very angry. Colonel Paul Bennett had turned his family's Christmas gathering into a war council. His living room now contained his brother-in-law who manufactured advanced weapons, 2 retired Air Force generals, a NASA engineer, and 3 former Navy SEALs who lived nearby. The Christmas tree still twinkled in the corner while they planned their counterattack. "We have a weapons cache at the manufacturing plant 20 miles north," said his brother-in-law Danny. "Military-grade equipment that was supposed to ship to overseas bases next week. My old squadron is still at Lackland Air Force Base," added retired General Kim Foster. "Those boys will be itching for a fight by now." Paul looked at the tactical information on his laptop. "The aliens are focusing on population centers but ignoring smaller targets. They think we'll surrender if they destroy our cities. They don't understand Americans very well." Meanwhile, in Colorado, Jake Morrison was discovering that his quiet suburban neighborhood was full of very dangerous people. His next-door neighbor Bill turned out to be a retired Marine sniper. The friendly woman down the street who always brought cookies was formerly a helicopter pilot. The teenager who mowed lawns was actually a National Guard demolitions expert. "Jake, we need to secure the elementary school as an evacuation center," said Bill as they met in Jake's garage. "My wife is a nurse and yours is a medic. We can treat wounded civilians there." "Good idea," Jake replied while cleaning his old service rifle. "The school has thick walls and the basement can protect people from air attacks." Lisa Morrison was already treating injured neighbors who had been hurt during the first wave of bombing. Her medical training kicked in automatically as she worked on a man who had been cut by flying glass. Amy and Beth helped by bringing bandages and water to the wounded. "Mom, why are the bad aliens hurting people?" Amy asked. "Because they don't understand that families protect each other," Lisa answered. "But they're going to learn very soon." In Chicago, Detective Maria Santos had organized the people at midnight mass into a resistance cell. The church basement became their command center, with Father Martinez coordinating civilian evacuations while the trained personnel planned military operations. "My brother Carlos made it to the air base," Maria reported to the group. He says, "The Air Force is launching fighters as fast as they can fuel them, but we need to handle the alien ground troops in the city." "I've got 20 years of SWAT experience," said Officer Tony Martinez, Maria's cousin. "These aliens might have fancy weapons, but they don't know our streets. And I've got connections to every police officer, firefighter, and paramedic in the city," Maria added. "We can coordinate through our radio networks." The aliens were learning that human cities were much more dangerous than they expected. Every street corner seemed to hide another group of armed defenders. Police officers who knew every alley and building were picking off alien patrols with precision shots. Firefighters were using their equipment to rescue trapped civilians, while veterans of foreign wars chapters had turned their meeting halls into weapons. Storage centers. Dr. Nancy White had been baking Christmas cookies with her grandchildren when the attack began. Now she was in her home laboratory studying pieces of alien technology that had been recovered from crashed ships. Her 40 years as an aerospace engineer made her very curious about how the enemy weapons worked. "Grandma, what's that glowing thing?" asked her grandson Pete. "That's an alien power cell, sweetheart," Nancy replied while taking detailed measurements. "And if I can figure out how it works, we might be able to make our own weapons shoot better." Her daughter Susan, who worked for the Department of Defense, was already on the phone coordinating with other scientists around the country. "Mom, they want you to lead a team to reverse engineer their technology. How fast can you work?" "Give me 24 hours and a pot of coffee," Nancy said with determination. "These aliens picked the wrong planet to mess with." Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker had been enjoying shore leave with his parents in Miami when the attack started. Now he was on a Coast Guard cutter with a crew of volunteers racing toward alien ships that were attacking the harbor. His father, a Vietnam veteran, stood beside him on the bridge. "Son, these aliens remind me of the enemy commanders I fought in the jungle," his father said. "They think they know everything, but they don't understand the people they're fighting." "What do you mean, Dad?" "They attacked us on Christmas Day when every warrior in America is home with his family. That's not strategic thinking, that's pure stupidity." Steve smiled as he watched civilian boats joining their flotilla. Fishing boats, pleasure craft, and even some sailboats were following the Coast Guard toward the enemy. Their crews included retired Navy personnel, Marine veterans, and ordinary citizens who were tired of watching their city burn. Captain Helen Rodriguez was coordinating global communications from her command center inside Cheyenne Mountain. Her screen showed resistance movements, organizing in every country on Earth. The aliens had expected quick surrender, but instead faced coordinated defense on 6 continents. "Captain, we're getting reports from everywhere," said Sergeant Murphy. "Amateur radio operators are maintaining communications despite alien jamming. Internet technicians are keeping data networks active. Even satellite TV engineers are helping coordinate information flow." "How are they doing it?" Helen asked. "Most of them are working for free," Murphy replied. "They just want to protect their families and their country." Helen nodded as she watched the tactical display. The aliens made a big mistake. They thought attacking on Christmas would catch us weak and divided. Instead, they attacked when every neighborhood in America has trained defenders who are fighting for their children. Admiral Vextar was beginning to understand his error as casualty reports flooded in from his ground forces. Human resistance was not weakening after 6 hours of bombardment. Instead, it was getting stronger and more organized. "Admiral, we have lost contact with 30% of our ground units," reported his tactical officer. The humans are using coordinated small unit tactics that our forces are not prepared for. How is this possible? Vextar demanded. Our intelligence said. They were a divided species with limited military capability. Sir, it appears that their military personnel were distributed throughout their population for some kind of ritual gathering. Now they are organizing local defense forces in every population center. Vextar stared at the planet below. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered worlds by attacking during moments of weakness, civil wars, or natural disasters. But Earth was different. The humans had turned their moment of peace into their moment of greatest strength. The Admiral was beginning to suspect that attacking Earth on Christmas Day might have been the worst tactical decision in Zephyrian military history. 24 hours after the first alien ships appeared, Earth's military forces were fully mobilized and very angry. What started as a surprise attack on Christmas Day had become the worst mistake in Zephyrian Empire history. General Robert Hayes commanded the global counterattack from a hastily built command center in the Rocky Mountains. Officers who had been pulled from Christmas dinners around the world now worked side by side planning humanity's revenge. The general's daughter, Lieutenant Katie Hayes, led a fighter squadron that included pilots who had been opening presents with their children just 2 days earlier. Sir, all Continental Defense Forces report ready for Operation Christmas Spirit, announced Colonel Jennifer Walsh, his chief of staff. Good, the general replied grimly. These aliens wanted to ruin our Christmas. Now we're going to ruin their entire invasion. In space, Commander Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the USS Defender coordinating Earth's orbital defense platforms. His crew consisted largely of volunteers who had abandoned their holiday leave to defend their home planet. Many of them had lost family members in the initial attacks. Commander, we have visual contact with the alien fleet, reported Lieutenant Bobby Chun from the sensor station. 800 ships in attack formation. All orbital platforms report ready to fire. Added is signed Carol Martinez from Communications. Alex looked at the tactical display showing Earth's defenders facing an enemy that had expected quick victory. These aliens thought they were attacking sheep. Time to show them they're fighting wolves. Back on Earth's surface, the resistance had evolved into something the Zephyrian Empire had never encountered before. Jake Morrison's suburban neighborhood had become a fortress defended by people who knew every house, every tree, and every hiding place. Bill, take your sniper position on the water tower, Jake commanded his neighbor. Lisa, make sure the evacuation center has enough medical supplies. The school basement should protect the kids when the real fighting starts. Bill nodded as he shouldered his rifle. Those alien bastards killed the Thompson family down the street. I'm going to make sure they pay for that. Jake's wife, Lisa, was organizing the civilian defense with military efficiency. Amy and Beth, you help Mrs. Johnson with the younger children? Everyone stays in the basement until we give the all-clear signal. The twins, now understanding that their Christmas had been ruined by aliens, were eager to help. Daddy, are you going to shoot the bad aliens? Beth asked. Yes, sweetheart. Daddy and all our neighbors are going to make sure they never hurt anyone's family again. Dr. Nancy White's engineering team had achieved their first major breakthrough. Working around the clock in her home laboratory, she had successfully reverse-engineered alien shield technology and discovered something remarkable. Susan, come look at this, Nancy called to her daughter while pointing at her computer screen. The alien shields are designed for their home planet's electromagnetic environment, but Earth's magnetic field is different. What does that mean, Mom? It means I can modify our weapons to punch right through their defenses. These aliens are about to get a very unpleasant surprise. Within hours, Nancy's modifications were being implemented at military bases across the globe. Human fighters began carrying weapons that could penetrate alien shields. While Earth's orbital platforms received similar upgrades, Detective Maria Santos had turned Chicago into an urban warfare nightmare for the Zephyrian ground forces. Her knowledge of criminal tactics and the city's underground infrastructure gave human defenders a huge advantage. Tony, take your SWAT team through the subway tunnels, Maria commanded her cousin. The aliens don't know about our underground transportation system. You can hit them from below while they're expecting attacks from street level. What about air support? Asked Officer Rodriguez. My brother Carlos is leading the Air Force attacks from above. We hit them high and low at the same time. Father. Martinez had turned his church into a coordination center for the entire south side of Chicago. Maria, the parish network reports alien positions throughout the city. They're using our churches and community centers as observation posts. Perfect, Maria replied with a cold smile. Tell everyone to stay low until my signal. Then we show these aliens what happens when you mess with our families. Admiral Vextar was discovering that human resistance was not only stronger than expected, but also more creative. His ground forces reported that humans were using tactics the Zephyrian military had never encountered. Admiral, our troops are taking heavy casualties in all urban areas, reported his ground commander, General Crickstall. The humans know their terrain perfectly, and they're using every advantage. How are they coordinating so effectively? Vextar demanded. Our jamming should have disrupted their communications. Sir, they appear to be using multiple redundant communication networks that we didn't know existed. Amateur radio operators, religious organizations, community groups, and civilian internet systems are all working together. The Admiral stared at the tactical display with growing concern. The humans were supposed to be a primitive species driven by fear and confusion. Instead, they were showing discipline and creativity that reminded him of the Zephyrian Empire's most dangerous enemies. Colonel Paul Bennett's coordinated assault on alien positions in Texas had become a model for resistance fighters across America. His family's Christmas gathering had grown into a full military operation supported by local weapons manufacturers, retired military personnel, and civilian volunteers. Danny, how many modified weapons can your plant produce in the next 6 hours? Paul asked his brother-in-law. With the new alien technology modifications, about 200 per hour, Danny replied. Dr. White's shield-penetrating design is revolutionary. Excellent, General Foster. What's the status of air support? 3 squadrons of fighters are armed and ready, the retired general answered. The boys are eager to pay back the aliens for ruining Christmas. Paul looked at his tactical map showing coordinated attacks planned across the entire state. These aliens thought they could break our morale by attacking on Christmas Day. Instead, they just made us fight harder. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker's naval battle group had grown from a single Coast Guard cutter to a flotilla of military and civilian vessels. His father stood beside him on the bridge as they prepared to engage alien ships in Miami Harbor. Son, look at that formation, his father said, pointing to the approaching enemy. They're using standard military doctrine, fighting by the book. But Americans don't follow the book when we're protecting our homes. Steve smiled as he watched fishing boats armed with modified weapons taking positions around the alien ships. Dad, I think these aliens are about to learn why you never attack America on Christmas. Give them hell, boy. Captain Helen Rodriguez coordinated the global counterattack from her command center, watching as resistance movements around the world began their synchronized assault. All units, this is NORAD command. Operation Christmas Spirit is now active. Show these aliens what happens when they mess with our families? The response came from 6 continents as human forces launched coordinated attacks against alien positions. Fighter aircraft modified with Dr. White's technology screamed through the sky, engaging enemy ships. Ground forces using local knowledge and guerrilla tactics hit alien troops from unexpected directions. Naval forces protected harbors and coastlines while civilian volunteers maintained communications and supplied ammunition. Admiral Vextar watched his carefully planned invasion collapse as human resistance exceeded every projection. How many ships have we lost? He asked quietly. 237 destroyed, 115 severely damaged, his tactical officer reported. Admiral, the humans are not fighting like any species we have conquered before. What do you mean? Sir, they appear to be motivated by emotional attachment to their families and their planet. Logic suggests they should surrender to preserve their lives, but instead they fight harder when threatened. Vexstar realized with growing horror that the Zephyrian Empire had made a critical error. They had attacked a species during their most important family celebration, turning every human into a defender fighting for the people they loved most. The Admiral was beginning to understand that conquering Earth might be impossible. 3 days after the first alien ships appeared, the Zephyrian Empire's confidence had completely collapsed. Admiral Vexstar stood on his command bridge watching casualty reports that defied all logic. The humans were supposed to be conquered. By now, not winning. "Admiral, we have lost over half our invasion force," reported his tactical officer with trembling voice. "The humans are now launching offensive operations against our remaining positions." Vexstar's yellow eyes burned with frustration. How is this possible? We have superior technology, superior numbers, and superior firepower. These humans should be begging for mercy. Sir, our intelligence was completely wrong about human society. What we thought was weakness was actually their greatest strength. The Admiral did not understand that attacking during Christmas had united every human on Earth in a way that peacetime never could. Families who had been separated by distance, politics, or old arguments were now fighting side by side to protect their planet. Commander Alex Turner led Earth's space-based counterattack from the bridge of his captured Zephyrian cruiser. The ship had been renamed Christmas Spirit and was crewed entirely by volunteers who had learned alien technology through trial and error. "Commander, all Earth orbital platforms report ready for the final assault," announced Lieutenant Bobby. "Chun, Dr. White's modifications have given us a 30% firepower advantage over standard alien weapons." "Excellent," Alex replied as he studied the tactical display. "Signal all ships. Today we finish what these aliens started on Christmas Day." The human fleet consisted of captured alien vessels, modified Earth ships, and civilian craft that had been armed with reverse-engineered weapons. Pilots who had been enjoying holiday celebrations just days earlier now flew alien fighters with deadly efficiency. "All units, this is Commander Turner," Alex announced over the communication system. "These aliens thought they could destroy our Christmas and terrorize our families. Time to send them home with a message they'll never forget." On Earth's surface, the Resistance had evolved into a sophisticated military operation that used every advantage of fighting on home territory. Jake Morrison's suburban fortress had become a training center where civilians learned combat tactics from military veterans. "Bill, your sniper skills are legendary now," Jake told his neighbor as they watched alien patrols avoid their neighborhood. "Entirely. How many enemy troops have you eliminated?" "Stopped counting at 50, Bill replied grimly. "These bastards killed the Thompson family. I'm not stopping until every alien on Earth is dead or running." Lisa Morrison treated wounded Resistance fighters in the school basement that had become a field hospital. Her medical expertise saved dozens of lives while Amy and Beth helped coordinate supply runs to other neighborhoods. "Mom, Mrs. Peterson says the aliens are afraid to come near our street now," Amy reported. "Good," Lisa answered while bandaging a soldier's arm. "Maybe they're finally learning not to mess with American families." Dr. Nancy White's engineering breakthrough had revolutionized human warfare capabilities in just 3 days. Her team of volunteer scientists and engineers had not only reverse-engineered alien technology but improved it for Earth-specific conditions. "Susan, look at these performance numbers," Nancy said excitedly. "Our modified shields are 40% stronger than the original alien design, and our weapons can penetrate their defenses like paper." "How did you do it so fast, Mom?" "Honey, when someone threatens your grandchildren, you find motivation you never knew you had. These aliens picked the wrong grandmother to mess with." Nancy's innovations were being mass-produced in factories across America. Workers who had been enjoying Christmas vacation now worked around the clock to supply weapons that could end the invasion. Detective Maria Santos had turned Chicago into a death trap for alien ground forces. Her coordinated urban warfare campaign used every police officer, firefighter, paramedic, and veteran in the city to create an unstoppable resistance network. "Tony, the alien command center is located in the Willis Tower," Maria told her cousin. "Over the radio?" My brother Carlos is leading the airstrike while we hit them from street level. Roger that, Maria. SWAT teams are in position. These aliens are about to learn why you don't mess with Chicago families. Father Martinez coordinated civilian evacuations while armed parishioners defended the church that had become a neighborhood. Command Center. Maria, the Community Watch reports alien retreat from sectors 7 through 12. They're pulling back to defensive positions. Perfect, Maria replied. Signal all units to begin the final assault. Let's drive these invaders out of our city. The battle for Chicago had become symbolic of human resistance worldwide. Every major city reported similar success as local knowledge and family. Motivation overcame alien technology and numbers. Colonel Paul Bennett's Texas operation had expanded into a regional command, coordinating resistance across multiple states. His family's Christmas gathering had become the nucleus of a military organization that impressed even veteran officers. Paul's satellite intelligence shows alien forces retreating from population centers, reported retired General Foster. They're consolidating into defensive positions around their landing sites. Excellent, Paul replied while studying tactical maps. Danny, how many weapons can your plant deliver to our allied units? With 3 shifts running constantly, we can supply the entire Southern Resistance Network, his brother-in-law answered. Dr. White's technology has given us a decisive advantage. Paul looked at the coordination board showing simultaneous operations across America. These aliens made the mistake of attacking when every neighborhood had trained defenders spending time with their families. Now they're facing the consequences. Admiral Vextar received reports that shattered his remaining confidence in Zephyrian military superiority. Human forces were not only resisting effectively, but had begun capturing alien technology and using it better than the original designers. Admiral, the humans have reverse-engineered our shield generators and weapon systems, his intelligence officer reported with obvious fear. Their modifications are actually superior to our original designs. Impossible, Vextar snarled. We are the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Sir, they appear to have engineering capabilities we severely underestimated. Their improvements to our technology show creative thinking that our military doctrine cannot counter. The Admiral stared at casualty reports that showed impossible human success rates. How many ships do we have left? Less than 300 operational vessels, Admiral. We have also lost contact with 70% of our ground forces. Lieutenant, Commander Steve Parker's naval victory in Miami had become a model for coastal defense operations worldwide. His combined military and civilian fleet had not only defeated alien naval forces, but captured several enemy vessels intact. Dad, look at those alien ships trying to escape, Steve said, pointing toward the horizon where Zephyrian vessels fled toward space. Let them go, son, his father replied. They'll carry word back to their empire about what happens when you attack America on Christmas Day. Steve smiled as he watched fishing boats and pleasure craft celebrate alongside military vessels. I don't think the Zephyrian Empire will ever forget this lesson. Captain Helen Rodriguez coordinated the global final assault from her command center, watching as human forces on 6 continents launched synchronized attacks against remaining alien positions. All units, this is NORAD Command, Helen announced. Operation Christmas Revenge is now active. Drive these invaders off our planet and send them home with a message they'll never forget. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Human forces, using superior tactics, better modified weapons, and unbreakable morale, began the systematic elimination of alien presence on Earth. Admiral Vextar faced the impossible reality that the Zephyrian Empire's easy conquest had become a catastrophic defeat. The humans were not only winning, but doing so with technology they had stolen and improved in just 3 days. Signal all remaining ships, he ordered with bitter resignation. Prepare for emergency retreat. We are abandoning the Earth invasion. Admiral, what should we tell the High Command? Vextar looked at the blue planet that had humiliated the mighty Zephyrian military. Tell them we attacked a species during their most sacred family celebration. Tell them the humans fight like demons when they're protecting their children. And tell them that Earth is never to be attacked again. The Admiral realized too late that the Zephyrian Empire had not attacked a weak planet. They had attacked a world full of families who would do anything to protect each other. On Christmas Day, that was the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. New Year's Eve arrived exactly 1 week after the Zephyrian Empire made the worst military decision in galactic history. Admiral Vexstar's remaining ships limped away from Earth carrying the survivors of a force that had expected easy conquest, but found only defeat. Commander Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the captured alien cruiser Christmas Spirit, watching the last enemy vessels disappear into space. His crew of volunteers had learned to operate alien technology better than its original builders, and now Earth possessed a small but powerful space fleet. "Commander, the alien admiral is requesting communication," reported Lieutenant Bobby Chun. "Put him through," Alex replied. "Let's hear what he has to say." Admiral Vexstar appeared on the screen, his yellow eyes filled with defeat and confusion. "Human Commander, I wish to negotiate terms of surrender." "You're in no position to negotiate anything," Alex responded coldly. "You attacked our planet on Christmas Day, you killed innocent families, you ruined the most important holiday of our year. We did not understand the significance of your celebration," Vexstar said desperately. "We thought it was a moment of weakness. That was your first mistake. Christmas is when human families come together. It's when we're strongest, not weakest. You attacked Earth when every neighborhood had trained defenders protecting their loved ones. The alien admiral's defeat was complete, and he knew it. What are your terms?" Alex looked at his crew, many of whom had lost family members in the initial attacks. "You will never return to this star system. You will pay reparations for the damage you caused, and you will spread word throughout the galaxy that Earth is under human protection." "Agreed," Vexstar replied quickly. "The Zephyrian Empire will honor these terms." "One more thing," Alex added with a cold smile. "Tell your high command that humans don't start wars, but we always finish them." On Earth's surface, the last alien ground forces were being systematically eliminated by resistance fighters who had turned from peaceful Christmas celebrants into deadly warriors in just 1 week. Jake Morrison led the final assault to liberate Denver, fighting alongside neighbors who had become his closest friends through the crucible of war. His suburban fortress had become the model for neighborhood defense that military academies would study for generations. "Bill, take the high school while my team clears the shopping center," Jake commanded his neighbor-turned-sniper. "These are the last aliens in Colorado, and I want them gone before midnight." "Copy that," Bill replied. "My wife is making coffee for everyone when we get back. First normal thing she's done since this started." Lisa Morrison treated the last wounded civilian in their makeshift hospital, knowing that her medical skills had saved dozens of lives during the invasion. Amy and Beth helped organize supplies, their childhood innocence forever changed by seeing their parents transform into defenders of humanity. "Daddy, are the bad aliens all gone now?" Beth asked. "Almost, sweetheart," Jake answered while checking his weapon. "After tonight, you'll never have to worry about aliens hurting our family again." Dr. Nancy White put the finishing touches on her comprehensive analysis of alien technology. Her reverse engineering work had not only helped win the war but given humanity a massive technological advancement that would change civilization forever. "Susan, these alien energy systems could revolutionize everything," Nancy explained to her daughter. "Transportation, manufacturing, space exploration, even medical equipment. We're looking at a technological leap of at least 50 years. What will you do with all this knowledge, Mom?" "Share it with the world," Nancy replied. "These aliens tried to destroy our Christmas, but instead they gave humanity the greatest gift in our history." Her innovations were already being implemented across the globe as Earth prepared to become a major galactic power instead of a conquered planet. Detective Maria Santos coordinated the liberation of Chicago from the top of Willis Tower, the same building where aliens had established their command center just days earlier. Her network of police officers, firefighters, and civilian volunteers had turned urban warfare into an art form. "Tony, report status on the final sweep," Maria called to her cousin over the radio. "All clear in the south side," Tony replied. "Father Martinez wants to hold a special mass tomorrow to thank God for our victory." "Tell him the whole city will be there," Maria said. "We've got a lot to be grateful for." Chicago had become a symbol of human resistance, proving that citizens defending their homes could defeat any invader regardless of superior technology. Colonel Paul Bennett's Coordination Center in Texas had evolved into the headquarters for America's new Planetary Defense Force. His family's Christmas gathering had grown into a military organization that impressed allied nations around the world. "Paul, the President wants to offer you command of the new Space Defense Division," reported General Foster. "I'll consider it," Paul replied while watching the last alien ships flee Earth's atmosphere. "But first I want to finish the Christmas dinner that got interrupted a week ago." His brother-in-law Danny had converted his weapons manufacturing plant into Earth's first alien technology production facility. "Paul, we're already getting requests from allied nations who want to purchase our modified weapon systems." "Good." Paul said, "The aliens gave us the technology to defend not just America, but the entire planet." Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker sailed into Miami Harbor aboard a captured alien vessel, leading a flotilla of military and civilian ships that had proven coastal communities could defend themselves against any threat. "Dad, look at all those people on the shore," Steve said, pointing to thousands of families waiting to welcome the defenders home. "Son, this is what victory looks like," his father replied. "These aliens tried to break our spirit by attacking on Christmas, but they only made us stronger." The celebration in Miami was repeated in every coastal city as communities that had been attacked during Christmas welcomed home the defenders who had saved their families. Captain Helen Rodriguez coordinated the global celebration from her command center, watching as 6 billion humans marked not just New Year's Eve but Victory Day. Her communication networks carried messages of joy and triumph around the world. "All stations, this is NORAD Command," Helen announced. "The last alien vessel has left Earth's solar system. The invasion is officially over. Welcome to the new year and welcome to humanity's place in the galaxy." The response came from every continent as military bases, resistance cells, and civilian communities celebrated the impossible victory that had been won by ordinary people. Defending their families, Admiral Vextar's ship finally reached the edge of Earth's solar system, carrying the survivors of the Zephyrian Empire's greatest military disaster. His communication officer approached with obvious fear. "Admiral, the High Command is demanding a full report on the failed invasion." Vextar stared at the stars ahead, knowing his military career was over. "Tell them we attacked a planet of warriors disguised as civilians. Tell them we invaded during their most sacred family celebration and discovered that humans become most dangerous when they're protecting their children." "What else should I include in the report, Admiral?" "Tell them that Earth is defended by every family, every neighborhood, and every community on the planet. Tell them that humans don't surrender when threatened, they fight harder. And tell them that the Zephyrian Empire should never again underestimate a species that celebrates Christmas." The alien admiral realized that the humans had taught his empire a lesson that would echo throughout the galaxy. Christmas Day 2157 would be remembered as the day humanity announced its arrival as a galactic power. Back on Earth, families across the planet prepared to resume their interrupted Christmas celebrations. The presents under trees were the same, but the people opening them had been forever changed by 1 week of defending their world. Jake Morrison sat with Lisa, Amy, and Beth around their Christmas tree, finally able to enjoy the holiday that had been ruined by alien invasion. The turkey was cold and the cookies were stale, but his family was safe, and that was all that mattered. "Next Christmas will be different," Lisa said softly. "How?" Jake asked. "We'll remember that we're not just celebrating our family," she replied. "We're celebrating the fact that human families are strong enough to defend themselves against anything in the galaxy." As midnight struck on New Year's Eve, Earth entered 2158 as a planet that had faced invasion and emerged victorious. The aliens had attacked during Christmas, hoping to catch humanity weak and divided. Instead, they discovered that Christmas was when humans were strongest, when families united, and when ordinary people became extraordinary defenders, the Zephyrian. Empire's defeat sent shockwaves across the galaxy as other alien civilizations realized that Earth was not a target for conquest, but a potential ally to be respected. Humanity had won more than just a war. They had won their place among the stars by proving that family, community, and determination could overcome any threat. Christmas would never be the same, but it would always be remembered as the holiday. When humanity saved itself and announced to the galaxy that Earth was defended by 6 billion people, who would do anything to protect the ones they love?